Hi, we're back with 5-minute marinara. This is the next in the series of the video tutorials to help you make unprocessed food recipes that are made healthy with all the processing ingredients removed that you can do in your home in about 5 minutes. So my goal here is to help you not have any excuses not to be able to make your own food because it can be really easy. So we're going to go over the 5-minute marinara recipe. Now you might first look at the ingredients and think, those look like they're processed. And it's true, these are diced tomatoes and they're in a can, but there's no added salt here. You could easily use, in the height of the summer and farmer's market season, fresh tomatoes, and this recipe would work for fresh tomatoes, so just chop them up. So fresh tomatoes or diced tomatoes in a can. Again, the key here is to not use anything with added sodium. So again, we've got ingredients: diced tomatoes, some tomato paste, some garlic powder, a small onion or half of a large onion. I've got some red wine, some Italian seasoning, and some olive oil. So in a list format, if you want to write it down to keep notes, I used 2 cans of diced tomatoes. These were the 15-ounce size diced tomatoes. 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, just a tablespoon of olive oil, and you're just going to use that to saute your onion with. 1 medium onion, a half a cup of red wine, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a tablespoon of a blend of Italian spices. If you have fresh ones, that's even better, so you could use fresh spices if you'd like. So the first step of the recipe is to take your onion and blenderize it in a food processor. I like to mash it up until it's completely chopped, almost pulverized into a paste. And it just kind of looks like this. You throw it into your pan with the tablespoon of olive oil and just kind of saute that till it gets translucent. That way you're kind of releasing a lot of the flavor of the onion. I think this helps add to the flavor of the overall marinara, and it helps add to the volume and the thickness of the sauce as well. So I like this step, just to add a real fresh onion to the recipe. And then you're going to use a little food processor. If you don't have a large one, these little mini ones work great. This is a KitchenAid mini chopper, mini food processor, and with the mini one, you'd have to do 1 can of tomatoes at a time, which is fine. It only holds so much. You could also use a larger one if you have a larger one, but it's just about blending up the tomatoes at this point to get it to a sauce. So I recommend this step because you can use diced tomatoes in any recipe, and that way you don't have to buy so many different forms of tomatoes. You don't have to buy spaghetti sauce or tomato sauce or stewed tomatoes, or you can just buy the diced tomatoes and you can use that in a variety of ways. So for making marinara, you're just going to blenderize it and add it to your pan. So after you get your 2 cans of tomatoes chopped, you're going to put that into the pan and the rest of your ingredients at the same time. So you've got your onion in there, you've got your 2 cans of tomatoes in there, you're putting in the 2 tablespoons of tomato paste in there, you're going to add your garlic powder and your Italian spices, and also the red wine. And the red wine is optional. If you don't have it on hand or you don't drink wine, then you don't have to add it. I do think it adds a nice flavor. And this way it keeps you from having to add salt to make your sauce taste good. And essentially, after you heat this up, you're really done. This is the simplest recipe. I mean, it only takes not even 5 minutes to throw this all together. But the beauty comes when your sauce is actually marinating, and maybe you can keep your sauce on warm while you prepare your noodles. And in this recipe, what I did in this dish, I used a special kind of noodle called shirataki, shirataki, shirataki. They're a low-carb noodle made with tofu and seaweed, and it sounds kind of weird, but it's a great low-carb option for you if you're looking for that in your food. So I've enhanced the marinara by tossing in a handful of baby spinach to give it a little bit more vegetable. We're all looking for ways to get a little bit more vegetable into our meals. So throwing in a couple handfuls of greens is a great way. They wilt right in the sauce very easily. It makes your sauce look really gourmet. And to put this meal together, I also added frozen shrimp, which you can buy frozen shrimp that's pre-cooked, and it will cook in the sauce, de-thaw in about five minutes. So another way you can kind of throw together a really quick recipe. This really only took about 10 minutes total to make this dinner meal. The shirataki comes ready to eat. You just have to heat up the noodles, and the peas and the broccoli were steamed in the microwave. So that altogether was an easy dish to put together. So impress your friends, your family with delicious, easy to prepare food that's completely nutritious without added ingredients, and you'll never go back to canned spaghetti sauce. Enjoy. Next, we're going to look at fruit-filled pancakes, so stay tuned.